You're listening to the Never Heard of It podcast,
a Night Shift Radio original. Every week we bring you the good,
the bad,
the weird,
and lesser known streaming movies.
Hit subscribe for new episodes every Thursday and Sunday.
I've been saying for like months, if not, I guess, so we've actually been in this house for like just a couple weeks shy of 2 years now. So I guess I've probably been saying it for close to 2 years. I really need a better chair. And I know, like most people's minds when they hear that, because thinking desk chair, probably thinking like real nice like gaming chair or like really like fancy office chair or something like that. And no, that's not what I mean. I really need more of like a drafting chair. So something, because I like to keep my desk at standing height, which I like to think encourages me to stand more.
Sure.
I don't do it as much as I should, or I guess as much as I would like to, but I do. And so I keep my desk there, and I have this stool. I've told you all about this, but like the stool is fine, but I find myself slumping a lot, and my shoulders just fucking hurt. My neck hurts. There's a spot like right here in the middle of my back where my spine rubs up against the skin that just perpetually hurts, and I think that's probably not normal.
No, that's a sign of degenerative disc disease.
Oh fuck, that's not something I want to know. Or maybe it's something I do want to know. I don't know.
It's something you should probably know.
I accidentally hit it with the Theragun once, and boy, let me tell you, that was not fun. And so I'm thinking about it as we're sitting here recording a third episode back to back to try to get ourselves back into some semblance of order. As our listeners may have noticed over the course of the month of November, it's been a little scatterbrained for us because everything has been out of order, and I've
been like, hey, next episode is this, and that's really like a 2 week later episode.
Because we recorded the second episode of the month before we recorded the first one, and then we did a bonus episode for that, and then we didn't do a bonus episode the next week. So we've been but we're ahead one episode on regular episodes, and we're trying to catch up with the bonus episodes. It's been very confusing. So here we are sitting, back to back to back, third episode. My shoulders hurt. I put my hoodie back on because the shirt that I'm wearing represents a company that I don't want to give any kind of like credit or visibility to. It was clean, and I knew that I wasn't going anywhere today, so I just threw it on.
Sure.
And so I'm very uncomfortable.
It sounds very uncomfortable. You sound just like it's just everything.
Everything hurts, and I'm tired, and it's hot in here, and these headphones are making me sweat. But enough complaining. Michael, you know by now my love for just mostly like mindless, shut your brain off television in the evenings. And I feel like the less overall film and television media I'm consuming, the more inclined we are to turn on something like that. And you also know my love for cooking shows and cooking competitions. Is it Hulu? I think it's Hulu. I honestly can't keep track anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's Hulu. There's a cooking competition show called Best in Dough, and it's a pizza cooking competition.
Yeah. Now that's something I could get down on. I'm not normally into the cooking world, but I could get down on some pizza cooking.
It's really fun too, because each episode it's one where like instead of just being like the same format every single time, they bring in completely different groups of people. So one time it was like award-winning like pit masters. Another time it was people who are like known for like the quality of their dough, like they do actual like pizza making competitions. One time it was just like mother-daughter duos, and so it's like fun. It's different people every time, and they do one challenge where like whatever you're known for, like whatever your comfort zone is, you don't get to do that. So like the people who had won awards on their dough, like the first challenge, like you have to use a frozen pizza and you have to make it like something special. And they're like, what? And then of course the next one is the like go all out and impress us with like a particular theme. And I love that. Like, so not only is it not just like, chefs or like, people who like only do this one thing for a living. It's a variety of people. But it like the challenges make for like really interesting interesting results. Not everything looks particularly edible, I will say, but like it makes each episode stand out and be unique, and I enjoy that. And also I love pizza. It's full of pizza puns, and like
it makes me want to get more pizza. It makes me want to get pizza when we're done with this.
I think we might actually do that, because we were talking about that just before I came in to record, just getting some pizza and just like vegging out for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But also, like, one of the things that I hate the most about any competition shows is the fact that they like every round is always an elimination round, whether it be a longer running show like a Bake Off or Project Runway or whatever, where every episode they eliminate someone, or whether it be like a Chopped or Cutthroat. No, not Cutthroat because they don't eliminate anyone there, but like a Chopped where you get eliminated in each round. Now I'm questioning Cutthroat. I don't remember if they do or not. Doesn't matter.
It sounds like they would. Yeah. The name is Cutthroat.
The whole idea being like, how do you really have a true competition if you've someone who like half-asses their way but like squeaks through the beginning, and someone who like maybe could have been really amazing but like messed up one thing in the first round. Like it never feels like an appropriate competition for me. Like you just like I feel like if you're having 2, 3, 4 rounds, whatever, in a show, then the results should be the aggregate of those and not the best of each round. That right. Like, and I saying it out loud, I think I realized why people hate baseball playoffs. Because you have you could have literally the greatest team of the year of both leagues. Like the best team in baseball can get knocked out in the first round because that's just how baseball is, man. You have an off day and like you're done. It's not an aggregate of the entire season. So I guess now I kind of realize why people get frustrated with sports playoffs. But that's a very fun show. Definitely recommended if you're looking for mindless TV, if you like food competition shows, and particularly if you like pizza. But I have a question for you. I have a question for you specifically, Michael, and also for our listeners. So have you heard of What If?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about
the Marvel.
I'm not talking about Marvel's What If.
Okay. Then I haven't.
You might think, because we talk about a lot of Marvel stuff here. In fact, we just did a totally spoiler heavy bonus episode review of Wakanda Forever. If you haven't checked that out and you have watched Wakanda Forever, go listen to it. But no, there is a film from 2013, apparently originally titled The F Word, which I almost think they should have kept that, but starring Daniel Radcliffe and Zoe Kazan.
Oh, I have seen or heard of this movie. Yeah. I think I did see it. Yeah.
We saw it on Amazon Prime. Thank you, by the way.
You're right. I mean, you what? You have
what
your
are we
own.
talking
I don't know
about
what you're talking
about. Definitely, yes. But we were scrolling through one night and we saw that there is a film with Daniel Radcliffe, Zoe Kazan, Megan Park, who I remembered from, now I'm gonna fucking forget it already. Oh, she was in The Martian. She was the scientist who figured it all out. Adam Driver's in it. I'm sorry, no, Mackenzie Davis was the one in the Martian. Megan Park. Yeah. Someone else. And then Rafe Spall, who is an incredibly British actor who plays a very not British person in this film, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. But I remember this.
It's a fun little rom-com. It's got a quirky story. Daniel Radcliffe and Zoe Kazan have amazing chemistry through it. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't. Because you haven't seen it, I will go no further because anything that I talk about this movie will spoil something about it.
Sure.
Because it intentionally plays with standard rom-com tropes, and some it leans into, some it doesn't, in potentially very frustrating ways. And I know, just from knowing you, I know it's up your alley. And anyone who's been with us for now almost 5 years and happens to align with you on this type of movie, I think that they will enjoy it as well. What If?
I am actually convinced that I did see this movie because I think it came out right around the same time as That Awkward Moment, which stars Zac Efron.
Maybe.
And I think those two movies came out roughly at the same time. Because I do very much remember That Awkward Moment. It was a great rom-com with Zac Efron. But Daniel Radcliffe, I think I did see this movie because I do remember him and Adam Driver together. But Daniel Radcliffe, of course, most recently plays Weird Al Yankovic in Weird, which I am very excited to see, but is not available in a way for me to watch yet.
Because that's a Roku original, right?
It's a Roku original.
I learned that from you. I didn't know that Roku was doing originals until you told me.
I think this is their first one, or at least the one that's getting the most amount of press. Yeah.
That Awkward Moment came out the following year. Also has Mackenzie Davis in it.
There you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Zac Efron and Michael B. Jordan. So
great movie, really, really good movie.
That's an interesting combo. But Adam Driver as like a supporting character and just as like goofy friend in What If was fantastic. So my question for you and for our audience is, what if you watched it?
Hey, what if you there is not a single Daniel Radcliffe movie, and I do mean not a single one, that I didn't enjoy. And that even includes the woman in the black or whatever.
I didn't see that, but wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't mind that movie. I mean, it wasn't great, but Daniel Radcliffe is great in that movie. There's not a single movie like Horns, this Swiss Army Man, Igor, the Igor movie he was in. What If? I guess I maybe I watched it. If not, I'm sure I'll probably love it.
Guns Akimbo looks amazing. Did you?
It is insane.
Okay,
I did see that movie. It was great. It was absolutely insane. Loved it. I have loved everything Daniel Radcliffe has done. Since even his show Miracle Workers is fucking hilarious. It's him and Steve Buscemi. It's hilarious. I am absolutely into anything he does. I'm like, done. I'm sold. He is great.
And Ruby Kazan was just an absolute delight in this film. And I can't help but wonder, I mean, she's 2 years younger than we are, so perfect age to have grown up with the franchise. I can't imagine what it's like to be someone acting alongside with and then later making out with Harry Potter.
Right. Who grew up with, absolutely. That's interesting. So speaking of romantic comedies, I am watching two brand new animes that I do, and I tend to do. But one of them is a romantic comedy, and it's called Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out. And I like it. It's for those of you who are fans of anime, it's a very fan service anime. You'll know what I mean. And I'm going to describe one scene specifically, but the plot of it is two college students. They've been friends since high school. Older boy, younger girl. I mean, they're like 19 and 20. So they're basically roughly the same age, but he's a year ahead of her in college. She's a year below. She ends up just wanting to be friends with him. He's kind of a loner, quiet guy. They start getting along, and it's a very odd couple relationship. She's blah, 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 and he's very stoic and reserved. So it's that sort of thing. But there's one very specific scene. So there's a point where Uzaki-chan is going to get something that goes into a bush. So she leans into the bushes to get this thing, and she ends up getting stuck. And in this moment, her skirt blows up, and we see her butt in her underwear. And so the boy, which I've forgotten his name now, so he is there seeing behind her, and he's like, oh my God, what is going on? Sakurai is his name. And he's like, and she's like, what is happening? And he's like, and he has a notebook with him, and he starts smacking her ass with it. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, your skirt blew up and I can see your underwear, but I don't want to touch you because it's not appropriate. So I'm trying to knock your skirt down to cover your underwear. And she's like, well, could you stop? So at this moment, they're in public. People are walking by, and he's smacking her ass with the thing, trying to get her skirt to go back down. And then finally she's like, no, you need to just pull me out. I'm stuck. She's like, just grab me by the hips and pull me out. So he grabs her by the hips. And so now from the angle that we see, he's got her by the hips, and he's pulling onto her, and she's like, just pull out. And he's like, I can't pull out. And he's jerking her around. It is the funniest scene I have ever seen. in an anime, I was dying laughing because I was like, this is the most awkward thing. But, he's like looking around, he's like, and then he'd be like, oh my God, phrasing. Because that keeps happening where she'll say something to him. She'll be like, it was great. I'm really enjoying it. Season 2 just is in the process right now. Like the new episodes are coming out weekly. Uzaki-Chan wants to hang out. Very funny, very rom-com, very, very fan service anime. And that's on Crunchyroll. But over on Netflix, there is another one, which is called Romance Killer. And I'm really enjoying this one because it's an anti-rom-com one. Because what happens is a magic wizard comes in and gets this girl who you would consider like an otaku. She is, stay at home, play video games, go to school, don't do anything else.
Okay.
I don't want to be involved in love. I barely hang out with my friends. I just want to play video games. And so this wizard comes in and says to her, like, look, you're a loner, like you need to fall in love, like you need to go off and fall in love. And she's like, I definitely don't. And they're like, well, guess what? So they take away all of her video games, chocolate, and her cat.
Oh, that's rude.
Away from her, because those are her 3 greatest loves, which honestly, substitute cat for dog.
Yeah,
same.
fair.
Same. Very good. So basically, the wizard's like, fine, I'm going to take away these 3 things that you love. Now you have to go off and be in love. And she's like, I'm just not going to do that. And so he's like, fine. So what the wizard does is puts her in these scenarios in which the person would typically fall in love. So she keeps happenstancing into this one boy who, like, his apartment ends up getting flooded. So he ends up having to live with her. She breaks his phone. So she ends up having to make up the fact that she broke his phone to him. And he's like, just buy me dinner. And they end up having to go out for dinner. And then this other boy who is her childhood friend who has a crush on her starts hanging out with her too. So he keeps like forcing her into the scenarios of her being in these rom-com scenarios, and she keeps doing everything possible to not be in the scenario. So like when the boy comes over to her house and is like, hey, my house is flooded, you're the only person I know, I don't have family here, like, because in Japan it's very common for high schoolers to live on their own. Parents maybe work abroad or something like that, so a lot of times they live on their own. So he's like, I have nowhere else to go. Like, I don't have enough money to rent a place. Mine just got flooded. Like, can I stay with you? And she's like, yes. So she's like, I know. So she dresses all like awkward and nerdy to make it so that he's like in no way enticed by her. And she's like, haha. And she's all like weird and competitive and gross with him. So that way he's like, ew, I'm not considering it as a romantic thing. But it keeps backfiring every single time. It's super funny. It's on Netflix. It's called Romance Killer. I really enjoy it because it is a rom-com, but at the same time, like, she is trying so hard to not get romantically interested, and every time she tries, it fails and ends up working exactly like a romance, like a rom-com would, and more specifically an anime rom-com would.
It's clever.
It's very clever. I'm a big fan. I've been really enjoying it. That one is very over-the-top anime to it, and then Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out is just really cute. It's just really fun. And I'm really enjoying that. So those are my most recent animes. Of course, if you're not watching Chainsaw Man and you're a fan of anime, fucking get your life together and watch Chainsaw Man, because it is fantastic. It is definitely one of the best animes of this season by a large margin. It is by a large marge. It is it is probably one of the best. But yeah, so. There's that. So I do actually know what episode is coming up next this time.
Yay!
Because we planned this out. So we are watching the movie Looking Glass, another Nick Cage film. This is the last film of November and the last Nick Cage film of November, which is available on Hulu. That secret surprise Nick Cage. So if you're the type of person that watches movies before we review them, you can find Looking Glass on Hulu. It is the Nick Cage one made in 2018, because we learned there is in fact another Looking Glass.
There's another one that Hulu misattributes this one to a completely different writer-director who also released a Looking Glass in 2018.
Yeah, but it is not that one. It's the one specifically with Nick Cage, and you'll see. Yeah,
of course it's the one with Nick Cage. If Nick Cage was an option, and you think that we didn't pick that, then what are you even doing here?
You must be new here. That's all That's all I can say. Yeah. So, hey, thanks a lot for watching this. This is a bonus episode. So if you're watching over on YouTube, we have brand new episodes on your podcast player of choice every Thursday and Sunday. Sunday is our full movie review episodes. Thursday is our bonus episodes. For those of you listening on your podcast player, don't forget to hit subscribe if you stumbled across this episode, or follow or whatever, because that's when you'll be notified whenever we drop brand new episodes every Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah, it's true.
So this is how you're gonna know, man. You know what? Thanks a lot for joining. Social media down below. You know the drill. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for watching. And as always, make sure to share with 100,000 of your closest meet cutes.
And honestly, tell them how you feel about them. Don't wait.
Right off the bat.
Just tell them.
You're dragging out the plot, man. Just do it. All right. Thanks a lot for listening and watching, everyone. And we will see you on Sunday.
Okay, bye.